You are listening to the Lawyer Stories podcast with host Benny Gold. Lawyer Stories was founded in July 2017 and is an expanding global network of lawyers and law students sharing their personal journeys to the noble profession of the practice of law. Join us on this podcast as we dig deeper into these stories and hear from lawyers and law students from around the world in all areas of the legal profession. Here at Lawyer Stories, we believe that every lawyer has a story. What's yours?
Welcome to the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold. Today we welcome in Dan Callahan, President and Managing Partner at Callahan and Blaine, and founder of Callahan Consulting Group. Congrats on that. We're going to get into that in a little while. Welcome in.
Thank you, Benny. Appreciate being here.
Yeah, for sure. World-class trial attorney. Love to see it. I love your videos, by the way. If anybody out there needs to see some good videos, good lawyer content, go check out Dan Callahan's YouTube and Instagram page. Terrific stuff.
Sure. Dan Callahan, attorney at large.
There you go. Love it. So what's going on in California today?
It's a beautiful day here. You know, I've got an office with 28 attorneys. They're all running madly, so we're doing good.
Wow, that's that. Love to see it. So tell us, like, where were you born and raised? Let's just start there.
Yeah, Benny, I was born in Chicago. My father was an Irish cop in Chicago.
Okay.
We were raised in Elmhurst, Illinois, about 15 miles west of the city.
Okay.
And then I went to school there, Immaculate Conception for 12 years. Then went on to college at Western Illinois University.
Okay.
And after 4 years, went to UC Davis for law school. And I was introduced to California because when I was in college at Western, I would work as a porter on Amtrak to go from Chicago to Los Angeles back and forth.
Wow.
Because I get like 65 hours in a 40-hour week. So I put myself through law school by being a porter, but I was introduced to California. So that's why I came out to California.
And you never looked back.
One winter is just way too cold.
Hey, I'm from Maine. Okay. I know I live in Mass now, but I know the whole winter thing. And
yeah,
I could see once you went to California, you just never turned back, right? That was it.
Well, I kept on going west. My first job was in Honolulu.
Okay.
And I got recruited out of UC Davis to go to the oldest and largest law firm in the state, Carl Smith, Wickman and Case. And I was there for 2 years. But hey, you know, I'm not really an island boy, and I couldn't get a tan. I don't surf. So I came to California.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. That was actually my one of my questions. Like, what was your first? I'll just go there now. So you said your first job out of law school was in Honolulu, huh?
Yes.
And what was that like? Where were you? How long did you end up staying there? And like, what were you doing?
I stayed in the library. I did a lot of research. I wrote memos. You know, I did the grunt work that you'd expect in a large law firm.
Okay.
I really didn't know what to do to be a lawyer. I kind of mastered the whole college thing, but now to be a lawyer, I just thought I'd just put my nose to the grindstone, work as hard as I can until eventually I had an epiphany about what I do. But my first.
Oh wait, you had already gone to law school at that time, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah, I know. See, I think that's kind of how, a lot of people feel. It's like, okay, like now what sort of thing? Because we don't get a lot of these trainings in law school unless you really seek them out, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
In law school, all you really have to prepare to be a trial lawyer or litigator, you can study the Code of Civil Procedure and evidence.
Sure.
Well, that's pretty good. But once you're in real life, trying to be a practicing attorney, you need to relearn. I mean, you still need the basics. But you learn everything else.
Yeah, so you have to learn. Did you have a mentor along the way?
I did. I had an attorney. His name was Terry O'Toole from Carl Smith. And then after 2 years, I moved to Newport Beach with a large firm there, Allen, Matkins, Leck, Gamble, and Mallory.
Okay.
David Grant was my mentor there. I stayed there for 3 years. And it was a great learning experience for me. But at that time, I was developing a large clientele, and I was keeping other attorneys busy. And I decided, I'm married, but I don't have any children. So if I'm ever going to open up my own shop, I should probably do it now.
So like, before you go there, because I do want to ask about that. So rewinding back to like being in college and you were in Illinois, like when did you know, like when was the moment you were like, okay, I'm going to law school? Like what was your, did it have to do with, I read that you worked in construction in high school for a couple of years, and I thought maybe you witnessed some unfortunate accidents, or you thought maybe like you need to, go and make people whole because of the construction industry. I don't know if the two are related at all.
Yeah, I wish I could say it was so exciting.
Yeah, I understand. It's sometimes it's not as like romantic like that.
Well,
Again.
my story is a little bit different.
Okay.
So my mother and my parents both actually said I'd be a very good lawyer because I was good at debate. I may have been good at debate, but I didn't apply myself in high school. I mean, I did graduate number 5 in my class.
Okay.
Did I mention from the bottom? So I was number 168 out of 172.
Okay.
There's a couple guys.
Oh, you weren't kidding. All right. So that's okay. All
There's
right.
a couple guys I just could not outdive them. But so I worked construction for a couple of years,
Okay.
and I was climbing trees, getting paid an extra 25 cents to go up there with a McCullough chainsaw and chop the tree down.
Yep.
And as I'm throwing this wood into the chipper, I'm going, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
I looked over my buddy who got me the job, and I saw him standing next to his dad who worked there as well. So, okay, I know why he's here.
Right. Right.
I throw the wood in the wood chipper. I said, my parents told me I'd be a good lawyer, so maybe I'll try going to college.
So when you say you know why he's here, let me just say, so is it because he's just going to take the business over, right? Like that's going to be his.
Well, he was working for the city, so it wasn't a private company.
Oh, he was. Oh, okay.
But his dad worked there.
Yeah.
He worked there, but I'd rather become an attorney, so I had to go to college.
Yep.
And now in my own brain, I said, geez, I'm now up against all those smart kids from high school, right? So I've got to work really, really hard. And I put them basically on a pedestal like I was preparing to fight Goliath.
Yeah.
And when the test came and all that, I had straight A's right through college.
Wow.
Because I over-prepare. Well, maybe not over-prepare, but I sure as hell do prepare. And I was a president of the Pre-Law Society.
That's great. Yeah.
And I wanted to be a lawyer from day one, stepping into college.
Okay.
When I went to UC Davis, I said, okay, Dan, all right, so you're pretty good at this college thing, but these are really the smart guys, right? So I did the same drill. I practiced, I prepared all I could. I was on the law review. I finished in the top 10 in my class.
Wow.
At UC Davis. And then I went on to practice law in Hawaii, where I hate to keep ringing or beating the same drum. But now I'm thinking, okay, Dan, apparently you're pretty good at school, but you're up against lawyers now.
Right.
But
Mr. O'Toole took you under his belt, right? Is that what happened?
Mr. O'Toole
Yep.
helped me quite a bit, as did Dave Grant.
Okay.
And they taught me a lot. A lot, however, is self-learned. When I opened up my own shop, I had not had any trial experience. So I got Jerry Spence videos and went to a lot of seminars and did everything I can to mimic what I saw the real pros and experts are doing.
So what made you, like, when did you know? And I think you mentioned that you had like a lot of clients, you had a big client base. Like what made you say, okay, like you said, I don't have kids, like I'm married, like I'm going to open my own firm. So like, what was that decision about?
Well, I hate to bring my mother into it again, but so I'm wrestling with this, and I happened to be speaking to her one time, and I said, here's what I'm thinking about doing. And she said, well, there's a lot of old people in the old folks home that say, I wish I had. So you should just go ahead and try it. If it works, it works. You've got nothing to lose right now.
Yeah.
You're married with no children.
Yep.
So off I went. I took down a suite. I had an associate, and then I had multiple associates the next couple of years, and I've continued to grow to this day.
Yeah, it's amazing. I know I've read a lot of, I read about some of your cases, and congratulations on all of your success. It's tremendous.
Thank you, Benny.
So, okay, so you decided you were like 5 years in, you opened your own practice, right after about 5 years in, 2 years in Hawaii, 3 in California. So tell me, like, what advice could you give a kid, I don't want to say a kid, but a person who graduates law school, practice for a couple of years, what advice can you give someone who wants to open their own firm?
Oh, now if they want to open their own firm, well, I'd recommend that somebody get at least 5 years experience in a law firm.
Okay.
Often it helps if it's a large law firm, but even a medium to small law firm would be helpful because you need to have a mentor. You need to
Yes.
have somebody who guides you during the formation, those early years.
Right.
I mean, you can do it without, but it really helps to have somebody show you the way to the courthouse and how to prepare the documents and et cetera.
Right. I agree. I think a mentor is huge. Sorry, go ahead.
And after that, if you want to open up your own firm, you should by this time have some level of a specialty and also a client following. I do not recommend you opening up your own firm just because I think I'll go out there, I'm thinking everyone will come to knocking on my door. They don't
Right.
just knock on your door. You have to have a certain corral of clients that you can rely on when you open up. And after that, you got to get out there and go to all the seminars, meet people that are there and attending a seminar, have a coffee with them back in the back of the room, talk to them, pass out your business card, write an article or two, get it published in a journal. Speak. If you can get yourself on a panel to speak, you should do that. What I did is there's an Orange County Business Journal. So I wrote an article every week for it. It was called It's the Law.
Okay.
And I would just find some new case. I'd summarize it if it had some impact upon business. And it got my name out there. So pretty
Sure.
soon people knew the name.
Sure.
Then I would put together seminars with some of the best trial lawyers in California. And I would have, let's say, 3 panels, 3 speakers on each panel, 2 lawyers, 1 judge, and then 3 panels. And lo and behold, they're all the experts, but I'd be one of the guys.
Yeah.
I'm on the panel. So the people who attend the seminar think, wow, these guys must be experts. So I guess Callahan must be too.
Did you ever think you'd be making these epic YouTube videos like when you were back then you were doing these seminar? I mean, they're just unbelievable.
I gotta tell you, 6 months ago, I didn't think I'd be making
Yeah, right.
deal.
Right. We'll keep up that. That's great. I think that's great advice. Thank you.
If I may add, so I
Yeah.
put these seminars and got my name out there. I wrote articles. So if you get published and you speak, pretty soon people call you and they want you to come in and help. And that's what happened to me. My first jury trial, I had it on 17 days notice. So I worked really hard and I won. It was a very good case. It's
Wow.
about a 2-week trial.
Okay.
So it's,
Do you find value in networking with other attorneys too?
yes.
Okay.
Here's a tip for you.
Yep.
If you're a business litigator and you want to network with other attorneys, going to the business litigation section of the bar is helpful. But, they're not going to give you a business litigation case because they are a business litigator. But if you
Right.
go to a construction seminar or a states, so where they have just estate or tax lawyers or any other specialty, you go there and you sit around the table and say, well, what do you do? What do you do? Oh, I do business litigation. Like, oh, well, hey, I've got this case. But if you go to a business litigation seminar where there's nothing but business litigators, they'd rather keep the case themselves and give it to you. Do you follow what I'm
Right.
saying?
Totally. Yeah, totally. So I mean, I here at Lawyer Stories, I try to connect people and attorneys together. So
Okay.
that's interesting info. So being a law firm owner, like what was your first challenge at like when you launched?
Well, after, of course, you secure the lease on your office space and you get your equipment, by this time you already have a client base and you start pumping out the work. It's just like working as a senior associate in a law firm, but you're the boss.
Right.
So there's a lot of other things you have to worry about. So it's like doing your billing, getting the
Right.
bill out in a timely fashion.
That's right.
And do all the other things that are done behind the scenes when you're an associate in a firm, right? So you have to learn all the banking. You got to get your line of credit. You have to get your bills out and you have to maintain a good relationship while at the same time getting out there and hustling for more business. So it is a 24/7 job.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Oh,
had
for
to
sure.
be-
For sure.
Totally.
But when it's your own business, you really can't expect people to work, like people that you hire to work maybe as hard as you, because it's your business and you want to keep going. You want to push it as hard as you can, and you want to take those calls at night. You want to take them early in the morning. You want to, on the weekend. It's sort of like I feel like you're motivated to do that, to keep it
Yeah,
going.
your light is always on.
Oh, always on. Always
Even
on. Like if you see a case or something that, somebody you can network with, I think that's all part of it.
Right.
So
And I find if I go to a party, right? I meet new people, I'm talking to them, and next thing you know, I'm talking to them, they say, what do you do? And I'll tell them a couple of cases. And I find that the listener puts himself in the shoes of my client. And if I'm telling them about a victory, they're thinking, geez, I wish that could be me.
yeah,
And they then wind up calling you about their situation.
right.
So you're just being yourself, and you're being outward, and letting people know what you do
Can I come with you to the parties next time?
all the time.
It's been a while. This COVID thing is it's crushing me. You know what I'm saying? All right. So
you got a permanent invitation anytime.
I love it. Thank you so much. So speaking of your cases, what was your first major win? Was it the 1990 win with the farmers insurance?
Well, I guess when I say major,
Yeah.
that would be the first major win.
Okay.
That was a $58 million judgment against farmers for insurance bad faith.
Okay. So I'm actually curious, like when you get these big verdicts or jury verdicts or like, does that like number like actually represent, I mean, I know you're going to get like probably a third, but like, does it end up going to like appeal and then it gets knocked down? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, it does. It goes to appeal, then you negotiate, it often gets knocked down because you don't know what the appellate court's going to do.
Okay.
Especially in that particular instance, it was a court trial, and the judge gave me 100 times my compensatory damages in punitive damages.
Right.
All right. So if you know something about punitive damages, at one time, a 10-to-1 ratio is okay. Subsequently, it got down to like 4-to-1, but 100-to-1, that's a tough one.
Yeah. Wow. That's
And
unbelievable.
you know what happened in that case? They refused to defend a patent infringement case that I had. I said a general liability policy that my client had that covered advertising injury should also apply to patent infringement. And they said, you're telling me a slip and fall policy compels us to defend patent infringement? I said, yeah. And as it turns out, the law went my way. So I set nationwide precedent getting patent infringement covered by a slip and fall general liability policy.
Wow.
And that was written up in the Wall Street Journal. I used to go around the nation telling all the patent lawyers how to do it. But that also was the basis for the insurance bad faith against farmers.
Okay. Gotcha. So what about the 934 million complex business case back in 2003?
Yeah, that was a beauty.
Tell us about it.
I went to a seminar in Hawaii. I met the lawyer who's general counsel for Beckman Coulter. He had this small $2 million breach of contract case. He wanted to know if I could handle it, so I did. It was a $2 million breach of contract. They offered us $300,000. We went to trial. They offered me $1 million. During the course of discovery, I discovered a fraud, a $300,000 fraud.
Right.
So we amended the complaint to add that. So now we have 2 causes of action. Then as we go, I got enough damning testimony out of the executives for Flextronics to amend my complaint again to have it conform to proof that I'd already elicited. Meanwhile, they offered me $3 million, $5 million, $8 million. We went to trial, and the jury came back unanimously on all 4 causes of action.
Okay.
It was for $2 million for the breach contract, $300,000 for the fraud, plus $1.5 million in punitive.
Wow.
And the last 2 causes of action were for economic duress, which is kind of like a subspecies of fraud. It was a theory in Arizona that I brought into California. And so the jury came back. I don't remember what the compensatory damage was, but the 3rd cause of action, economic duress, was $180 million in punitive damages. And you can hear the jury going, you can hear the audience go, oh. And the 4th cause of action, for economic duress.
Yeah.
They awarded $750 million in punitive damages.
Jeez.
And opposing counsel, his pencil snaps, you know. So it was good. Everybody was there in the courtroom to see it, to observe it. It was quite good.
Wow, that's amazing. What about the case with the city of Dana Point? That was pretty interesting. I was reading about that a little bit, and though the one question I had about that case doesn't the government? Well, you can tell us a little bit about it, but I guess weave this in. Like, doesn't the government have some sort of immunity to being sued?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So what happened there are these two women. They were jogging in the bike lane, and they got hit by an uninsured, drunk, hit-and-run driver who was sentenced to 4 years in prison.
Terrible. Yeah.
So other attorneys looked at it and they saw no viable defendant with money. Meanwhile, they came to me and I went and looked at the scene and I saw the bike lane. And rather than the bike lane being about 4.5 feet wide, it was 11 feet wide, the same as a driving lane. And rather than have it marked bike lane, you see that they have on the pavement, says bike lane. They didn't. And that's because some years before there had been a landslide. And then when they got all the dirt out of the road, they repaved it and they did the bike lane too wide.
Wow.
You asked about immunity.
Yeah.
The city has immunity if they're following the advice of a licensed engineer or professional. In this situation, the engineer said, make your bike lane 4.5 feet wide and mark it appropriately.
And you found the documentation that said that, the plans and all that.
Yeah. And I also found pictures that showed what it looked like before the landslide.
Wow.
So I had them. Now here's what really got them. I had a case about 1.5 years beforehand, and someone right across the street got hit in a bike lane. And we settled that case for like $1.5 million or so. But our experts told the city that that was a dangerous condition and someone could get seriously hurt or killed if they don't fix it. They didn't fix it.
That was a year prior to this case?
About 1.5 years, yeah.
Wow.
And so I argued all they had to do is get a bucket of paint and a stencil and go bike lane, bike lane, bike lane.
Yeah.
But they didn't. And as a result, my clients are severely injured.
And you were able to bring that in from a year ago and show the court.
So I demanded $50 million, the limit of their insurance.
Right.
And they offered me $30 million, which unbeknownst to me would have been the highest personal injury settlement in the history of the United States. I said, no, we're not even talking settlement. The number is 50 and the 50 is the number. On the Friday before the Monday trial, they said, okay, 50.
Yeah.
So we settled. We went in on Monday for trial, but we put our settlement on the record that Monday, and it was done. 50 million, the highest personal injury settlement.
That's amazing. So like, if you go to like to Dana Point, like for lunch or something, are they like, we can't let this guy in the city? Like he just like, he crushed us. Is that what happens?
Yeah, it's funny. I've been living now in Dana Point.
Have you?
Yeah, I moved in at night. No, that was in 2007. And I moved into Dana Point in 2010.
I think that's a really interesting teaching case too, because it's really like, I just think it's a very interesting case on the facts, and it involves a lot of things like government and just I think it's good.
Well, governmental immunity is a big deal, but they have to follow the rules. They have to follow the advice of the licensed professional.
Yeah. Very interesting.
They deviate, they're done.
But you don't only represent plaintiffs at your firm, you're also doing defense work as well, right? So how do you see, like, what are the, I know like there's obviously like differences in approaches and stuff, but like what I don't want to say like which do you like better, but like do you see similarities in like the clients and like what
let me tell you what I think about that.
Okay, tell me what you think about that. Thanks. Yeah, that I guess that's what I'm asking. Thank you.
All right. First of all, about half my practice or more is on the defense side.
Right.
Because I started out just working on an hourly basis for billing doing banking, construction, real estate, business, litigation. I didn't do PI until about 20 years into my practice, doing contingency work. So now as a result, about half my practice is hourly work, half is contingency. Of the half hourly, a good 2/3 is on defense. I have many defense verdicts, but they don't get written up in the paper like a big
Right.
splash, $50 million, $900 million. If somebody gets zero, it's just not as press-worthy. But I've
Right.
had beauties. One time I got the award of Trial Lawyer of the Year, and right before me getting the award for Employment Lawyer of the Year was this very skilled female attorney. Well, it just so happens that morning I was hired by the opposition. So I got my award. It's such an honor to receive this award, especially in light of the other recipients. By the way, and I'll not bother saying her name right now, just received the Employment Lawyer of the Year award.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, by the way, guess what? I just got hired today by Rico Electronics to be your opposition. And the place went crazy. I didn't know employment law really very well at all. But you don't need to know wage and hour to have a sexual harassment case. I mean, you
Yep.
only need to know your little window
Right.
of law. And so she had two Caucasians claimed to be discriminated against by a Japanese company. The lawyer that preceded me had admitted that Rico discriminated against Caucasians in favor of Japanese, until the judge pointed out that there was no immunity because this is not a Japanese company. It was an American subsidiary bound by our laws. So they fired him. They brought me in. And the bottom line is I secured a 12-zip defense verdict
Wow.
against both of the plaintiffs that she represented.
Wow. So they took the award away from her, right?
No, they didn't do that.
No, I'm just kidding.
She's a very good lawyer.
Yeah. So one thing I was interested in, like you said, sometimes your firm will take cases from other attorneys who have like kind of messed it up a little bit. Like, what is the biggest deficiency you see in somebody else's case, like building a case?
Usually it's inadequate discovery.
Okay.
Often they send out a set of interrogatories. They get terrible responses back, insufficient responses, and they just let it go. I don't know if they failed to read the responses when they come in, but the time to bring a motion to compel has lapsed. So they just don't gather. They're not detail oriented to get everything you need. See, I have a fear of loss and I really don't want to lose. So I want to get everything I can so I can be as prepared as humanly possible.
Sure.
So I've got it. And I feel if I'm missing something, it's gonna be in the back of my head when I go into trial. But if I really prepare everything and I go into what's called a lockdown mode, I read all the depots, summarize them myself, read all the exhibits, prepare my own examinations, jury voir dire, opening statements. So by the time I go in, I feel like the 800-pound gorilla. I just exude confidence.
Yep.
But if I fail to do something, it'll be in the back of my mind, hoping, well, I hope this doesn't come up. And that would just disarm me in a certain way.
That's interesting. Yeah. So you say preparation is like key to these cases.
Oh, yeah. Preparation equals results.
Preparation equals results. I like it.
Yeah.
So we were talking about having mentors earlier, and it's come to my attention that you're opening Callahan Consulting very shortly. Probably when this is released, it'll be out. But congratulations on the new venture. Like, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. It's called Callahan Consulting Group.
Okay.
And what we're going to be doing is twofold. We're going to work with law firms throughout the United States and especially in California to act basically as a senior partner, a mentor to the partners and associates in a firm to help them with their ideas about theories to pursue, both pre-trial work and during trial, and just be a mentor. Because I've got 42 years of experience, I've done quite a bit, and I can really help quite a bit. That's what I do right now in my law firm now. I have 28 attorneys, and for the last dozen years, I've been trying cases, but also mentoring the attorneys that work here. They're learning my way of presenting a case to trial. So
Yeah.
that's one aspect of Callahan Consulting. And the other aspect is making myself available to clients to steer them towards a lawyer or law firm who may specialize in a particular field that they need. And you have to remember, just because somebody's an employment lawyer doesn't mean he's an employment trial lawyer.
Right. Okay.
Being a trial lawyer is different from anything else. So you need to find somebody who's really good in the courtroom, who also has a knowledge of the particular specialty. So what I would be doing with these clients is sizing up where they are, what they need, and try to get to them to somebody who's real, who has the experience. Otherwise, the client is going to go looking at the internet, and I tell you, the internet is great, but there's a lot of hyperbole there. There's a lot of puffing there.
Yeah.
It doesn't really mean that the person that you hire has the experience that's being touted. It may be one of his partners. It doesn't tell you whether you're going to be passed on to a junior associate or a paralegal. There's just so much that, I mean, the internet, I mean, I praise it. It's great, but you can't just rely on that to pick your lawyer.
Right. Understood. So I think you answered some of it again, but I want to ask about something I did see on your website, which is I wanted you to explain what it means to be aggressive, thorough, comprehensive, and a winning attorney.
Well, you got to put your soul and heart into it.
Yeah.
You have to be committed to win. If it means you have to spend nights in the library, so be it. If your goal is to get from here to there, you have to have blinders on like a racehorse, just that you're going to get that. You can't say, well, I'll do that later. And that's going to, and you push it off. You just have to be dedicated and you want to win. And if you have that, and you try to look under every rock, you try to be imaginative, and you come at something from a different angle.
Yeah.
I mean, I got stories for you about different angles I could share if you want to hear it.
Yeah.
But let me give you just one.
Sure.
All right. So when I first opened my office, I'm in California. My friend owns a construction company in Arizona. He sent materials to a job site in Fresno, probably in Stockton, California. He's not getting paid. He wants to do a lien. I said, did you do your 20-day notice? He said, what's that? Oh, that's not good. To get a lien, construction lien, mechanic lien, you have to serve notice. So I said, okay, well, where's the product that you sent? Can you just go pick it up in your truck, drive it around the block, drop it off again, and then serve your 20-day notice within 20 days of dropping it off? And they said, no, because he said, no, it's in a factory, it's in a warehouse. So here's where the interesting stuff comes in. I said, okay, well, in talking to him, I learned that he sold this product to a subcontractor on credit. I looked at the UCC, and if you sell product to somebody on credit while they're insolvent, you can reclaim the goods and get constructive possession. What I did, I sent a letter, I reclaimed the goods. They never left the warehouse. I reclaimed the goods. I got constructive possession. I then wrote them a letter. I released the goods. They still haven't moved. And then I served a 20-day notice since I had just released the constructive possession. The owner of the company that had the goods, Diamond Walnut in Stockton, they laughed at me because, no, that doesn't work. Well, they paid the subcontractor. I went to court, and Diamond Walnut had to pay us as well.
Wow.
So I went to this presiding judge in Stockton and said, you got to follow the bouncing ball on this one. And explain just how it all works. How they never moved, but I got constructive possession and then released it.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's outside of the box.
Yeah,
right?
that's definitely outside the box.
You don't see that in the books. And I grafted the UCC onto the mechanic lien statute.
Wow. All right. Well, that's was an interesting tactic in that case, I would say.
Yeah, thank you. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So Dan Callahan, attorney at large. Is there anything else that you'd like to share today? I know I don't want to miss anything. I think we covered a lot. Is there anything else here?
Oh, I've got so many stories, but you don't have that kind of time. I've seen so much and worked so hard that I can sit here and have a really good time just telling you about all these different cases.
I think maybe we'll have to set up another time, but go ahead. What were you going to say?
The one thing that I'm doing now, I have a passion for the law. You might notice that.
Yes.
And I do want to move my efforts into Callahan Consulting to help other law firms and lawyers get the best results for their clients.
Yep.
Also help clients find the best lawyer so they can get a satisfactory or better than satisfactory result.
Okay.
So that's kind of the motion I'm moving. And effectively, the first of the year, I am Callahan Consulting Group.
That's awesome. Congratulations with that, with the new venture. And,
Thank you.
hopefully we could get back on and you could tell me all about it, like how it's going and everything.
Sure, happy to do it. Happy to do it.
That'd be awesome. Well, I
And
really appreciate.
We have a video coming out. You talk about that one, Attorney at Large.
Yeah.
Dan Callahan, Attorney at Large, a YouTube channel.
Yep.
Well, we have another one coming. That should be, well, when this airs, the second one should be out.
Okay.
It has a Mission Impossible theme.
All right. Well, I'll be looking for it. Hopefully your people will send it over. I'd love to see it.
Definitely.
Well, stay right there. I appreciate you coming on today and sharing your story and very important advice and your really interesting cases. And congrats on all your success and best of luck with Callahan Consulting Group. I think that'll be awesome. All right, you got it. Wherever you are in the world today, enjoy yourselves. Cheers.